Hey there, thanks for watching. I am here in my eBay basement to give you 7 tips on how to photograph and set your items up for quick sale for relatively good profit. So I can't really speak to any other platforms like Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp or Posh or anything like that. The only thing I know right now is eBay. So I can show you kind of how to do things, set things up for eBay, and also kind of how to give buyers the information that they'll need to be interested in your items and ultimately to decide to purchase them. So the first tip is kind of pretty basic, but just make sure your item's in good condition. If it needs to be washed, wash it. Make sure that there are no like stains or wrinkles, or if anything's wrong with it, fix it before you sell it. So that's number one. Number two is to make sure that your pictures, when you're taking your pictures, that they're clear and easy to see. And also, tip number three, for eBay, the format that eBay uses is for the pictures is square. So make sure that when you're taking a picture that you're putting it in square format. So I will show you with these 3 tips. These are, so this is the item that I have. This is the Adidas sweater. It's got kind of like a double layered look. So these are the pictures that I just took of them. And that is a 4th tip, is to make sure that your background is clear and not cluttered. So this is probably going to be my opening picture right there. You can see just kind of a standard picture right there. And I did the best I could with the lighting. Ideally, you'd take pictures in daylight. It's like 9:30 at night right now, and just list whenever you can. It's better to take pictures at 9:30 than not to take them at all, but try to get the best lighting that you can. I actually ended up buying just sort of a cheap lighting kit to be able to light my items a little bit better, and I think it cost maybe like $20-$30, and it was a good investment, but I can see either maybe wanting to go up a notch or just using a regular floor lamp, which is what I did for the longest time. So this is probably going to be my opening picture. Then I took pictures of the logo. This is the layered section, so you can kind of see what it looks like. This is underneath the layered section, and the type of material on the inside of the cuff. I've had people ask about that. This is tip number 5, is to take pictures of the care tag, because that's super important, because people want to know, is it dry clean only, is it hand wash, machine wash, what temperature, because that makes a difference in their buying decision ultimately. And then that's the back. So really make sure that you're getting good, clear pictures of your item from all angles. So the next tip is to make sure that you measure everything. So at first I was trying to get away with not doing this, and that didn't last very long. Like, people asked me so much, so I just finally like relented, and it's super helpful. Like, I find when I'm buying as well, like, I want to have measurements so I can know, because not all mediums are created equal, right? So what I typically do, if it's a shirt, I will measure from armpit to armpit laying flat, and then from the top of the collar to the hem, and in this case I measured to the bottom band and then to the hem, because the hem is quite long. That layered part's pretty long. So it's 20 by 23 to 35, so it is actually super long, which is why I loved it, but it just ended up being too big for me. So what I then do, and this is another tip, is to be sure to figure out your shipping as you're listing the item. Don't get stuck where someone buys it and then you have to go figure out shipping, because ultimately you want to build shipping into the total cost of the item so you know that you're able to make a decent profit. So another thing that I bought was this postal scale. This cost 20 bucks, and I waited a little bit to make sure that I was serious. Shipping actually took me the longest to figure out, and that's like, you can do a whole, like, there are whole videos devoted to like shipping and how to ship effectively. But I just kind of learned on the fly. That shipping scale, again, was an investment that I made maybe after my first month and a half. Because what I used to do was run to the post office. I would sell something and like hope it would be under a certain weight limit, so that didn't last very long. And this way I can make sure that it's able to go by the method that I'd like. So if on the eBay platform, any item that's under, and I think just in general, from the USPS, any item that's under 16 ounces, under a pound, can go via first class mail, which is usually the cheapest way to send things. So that's why my favorite items tend to be things that are under 16 ounces, because they're cheap, because it's easy to ship them. And I tend to go for things that don't break. I've had fine, decent luck with things that do break, but it's just easier. You have less consideration, obviously. So what I'll do is I'll fold the item up. I'll measure it to make sure that it's under a pound, which it is. This is 12.5 ounces. And then the next step, and this is another tip, is I'll package it in a clear poly bag, just so it looks a little bit more professional and like you're actually buying from like a decent store, which you are. So these are the bags I use. They're the Great Value from Walmart, twist tie bags, and these are very well known and much discussed in the retail resellers forums. They have a picture, they used to have a picture of bagels on the front. That's what they look like. And they are just, I think, I'm trying to get you the size of them. They are 10 by 14. So really great for almost all clothing items. So it fits up like this, packages like that. And then I got these poly mailers. I bought like 100 for maybe 20 bucks. So again, super cheap, not very expensive. And I put that in there. And then just kind of tuck it in like that. Only I wouldn't do that for storage. This is how I mail it. So just go like that, seal it up, send it on its way. For storage, I just leave it in its poly bag. I don't store in the mailers because I want to be able to see it so it's clear. So what I do is I have these cardboard boxes and I label them by letter and by the year. So I can just go through. I will put that letter on the last, on the end of the listing. So I know when an item sells, what box it's in. So I can say, okay, this is box M, look in box M, it's going to be there. So that's how I catalog and am able to keep track of the 400 or so items that I have listed. So that's another tip. And finally, you really want to be as detailed as you possibly can in your description. You want to use every single letter and space that they give you in the title. And you want to be sure to use keywords that people would search on. For example, on this sweater, I put comfy, cozy, athletic wear, gray, obviously the size, it's a large, things that people would look for when they're searching. So these are kind of my quick and dirty tips. I think there are 8 of them. So this again, I am no expert. I've just read enough to kind of have an idea of how to set this up. And I've been able to make a decent profit. This is sort of the minimum you need to do to be like up and running. Let me not say that. This is a way that you can really maximize the prices that you get, the amount that you get. And because I tend to go for like a quick turnover, I figured out my profit margin to be about $10 an item. Like I like to make $10 an item. So exclusive of shipping, I usually always charge shipping additional to the item. I don't usually put in free shipping. So for something like this, I'd probably charge around $10 to $12 because it's a name brand. Because I know that I would pay about that if I'm looking for a gray oversized sweater. This is exactly what I'd pay, and I know that, again, to make it worthwhile for me, I need it to sell for about $10. So I hope this has been helpful. I've kind of touched on everything from pictures to listing to shipping to organizing. If you have any questions, specific questions, I'm happy to answer them. I love talking about this, so let me know if you have questions, and thank you for watching, and I hope you keep watching.